Well, I might as well start. I'm very excited this morning to be doing this lesson 16, presentation 16 of Italian, the learning of Italian, teaching of Italian. And it's fantastic just to be here. This morning it's not so hot. I'm here in Melbourne. It's Tom Padula from TomPadulaTV and on YouTube and Insegna Booksellers. And I'm here at Insegna Booksellers. And today is a very exciting morning because I will be finishing off with the composite tenses. And I'm going to say this morning that I will be doing 20 lessons. I will have finished with the grammar, grammatica e pratica, 20 lessons. Then I will have presented the initial journey into that forest, and we're going to come out of it and then go back in it. So whereas this time we've done grammatica e pratica, so I'll just show you a few things. Then there will be pratica e grammatica. It'll be the other way around. So I'll be referring back to what I've done in the first 20 lessons, and I will say, okay, this is where you could revise this particular section of the grammar. So we will actually do exercises, and I'll look at not just the songs. There'll be more room to actually practice the Italian. And we'll probably go into the pronunciation of it as well. There'll be the syntax. We'll see how it develops, because I start something and then I just follow it through until it naturally comes to the end. So far, if you are really interested in learning Italian, I've actually, yesterday, I put on Insegna.com the lessons that I've done for Italian, for world history, and for Dante. Dante still have to catch up. But so far now, there are 15 lessons, and the 15th lesson, that was last week, something went wrong with the phone or whatever. I had to do it in two parts, part A and part B. But it's still an hour plus. Welcome to Colin Ramsley. It's fantastic that you're here. Thank you for your company. Now, that's basically it. Now, the other thing is at 11:30 I will start the lesson, the actual lesson, and it'll be great to have you actually taken in some of what I've said. So look up Insegna.com, go to the blog section. There's a blog section, and there are 6 pages of now podcasts. What I'm doing now is a podcast, really, because I am actually speaking into the screen and communicating with you wherever you are. These are free lessons. I'm happy for people to come to the shop and buy a few books if they want to ask for my assistance in the learning of Italian. It doesn't have to be formal lessons. It can be just a bit of a chat. And the main work is really up to you, because la pratica batte la grammatica, ma senza la grammatica non puoi migliorare o perfezionare la lingua che vuoi imparare o usare. So, welcome to Antonio Carlos Zaccaria and Laura Cassano. Good to have you here. This morning we're doing the future perfect, futuro anteriore in Italian, and I'll show you how it's done, and also in English, of course, because that's what I'm doing. But I will announce this as well. When I finish with this, I'll be doing 20 lessons, and the grammar, the first presentation of Italian grammar will be finished, because I didn't do any exercises, just a little bit, just a sort of a walk in the park. And that's important. So this morning too, I wanted it's, I want to revise. For example, I personally don't know all of the conjunctions, all of the prepositions, the invariable parts of speech. They're just lists. So if you can identify them, when we do the pratica, you'll be able to see how the language actually works in practice. And because you speak another language already, you speak English or you speak Italian or Spanish, whatever it is, you'll be able to improve what you already have. So it's 11:30. Let me start. Okay? Let's go. Here we are. The 9 parts of speech. Now, I've done this many times. Noun, article and adjectives we've done. Pronouns, I went through them last week. Then, you know, in the pratica, you'll know which ones they are. They've been named and what they are. And then, of course, the invariable parts of speech are the adverb, preposition, conjunction, exclamation, interjection. Today, I will go through some of the prepositions and the conjunctions. And I had the English parts last time that I presented it. This time, I will have both Italian and English. Okay, so if you, we'll do a bit of time, and then I will introduce a few of the songs, and we'll go through some of the songs to actually analyze them. The first one will be E qui comando io. Okay, so this is what we're doing today in terms of the verb. Here we are. The tenses are the indicative mood. You remember there are, how many moods are there? 7. And there are 3 conjugation of the verbs in Italian. In English, there's only 1. But, you know, you've got to know the difference. 7 moods: indicative, conditional, subjunctive, imperative, gerund, participle, and infinitive. Infinitive is the one that you look up in the dictionary. The participle, the past participle, is used in the composite tenses. The gerund is like the singing, the ing word that needs a bit of explanation. Imperative is when you want to tell somebody what to do. Do this, do that. Commands. Subjunctive and conditionals I will be doing next week. Just introducing the actual tenses, and both in Italian and English. And indicative, today, we will have finished the composite tenses. Now, the composite tenses are here: perfect, pluperfect, past anterior, and future perfect. We're doing the future perfect, in which case then the tenses of the indicative mood will be finished. I don't have to write this again. They're here. So here we go. Future perfect. Now, the future perfect in Italian is called futuro anteriore, of the auxiliary verb essere. Remember, auxiliary means to help, to assist. So essere and avere, to be and to have, are the auxiliary verbs which help other verbs in the composite tenses. So here we go. And how do you do a future perfect? A future perfect is when I will have, so we're talking about climate change, let's say, and we are in the year 2050. But by 2035, we will have made a lot of progress. We will have made a lot of progress. See, we will have made. That's a future perfect. Okay, so you use the subject pronoun, io, tu, lui, lei, noi, voi, loro. You use the future tense of the verb, essere, io sarò, tu sarai, lui, lei sarà, noi saremo, voi sarete, loro saranno. You add stato, the past participle of essere, which is stato or stata. Now, this is the only verb that actually stato can change. Io sarò stato or io sarò stata, depending on whether you're female or male or female. Noi saremo stati, state. Again, this is for the plural. So that's it. That's how you do it. This is how, so how do you learn this? Easy. You have to know them like this. Io sarò stato, tu sarai stata, stato, lui lei sarà stato. Noi saremo stati, voi sarete stati, loro saranno stati. Sorry. I need a drink. Just a cold water. Okay. I shall will have been. You shall will have been. He, she shall will have been. We will have been. You shall will have been. Thy shall will have been. So that's the part in English. You notice I shall or will. I shall, it's not shall and will, it's I shall have been, you shall have been, he or she shall have been, we shall have been, you shall have been, they shall have been, or I will have been, etc. You will have been. And both shall and will are used to form this future perfect tense. And you'll find it as we move along in the pratica. The next one is the future perfect of avere. To have. Now this is different because again we have the actual pronouns io, tu, lui, lei, noi, voi, loro, and then you have the future tense of avere, io avrò, tu avrai, lei avrà, noi avremo, voi avrete, loro avranno. And then you have the past participle of avere, which is avuto, but in this case here neither, it's used for both male and female. So io avrò avuto, tu avrai avuto, lui, lei avrà avuto, noi avremo avuto, loro avranno, voi avrete avuto, loro avranno avuto. And in English it's I shall have had, you shall have had, he or she shall have had, we shall have had, you shall have had, they shall have had, or I will have had, you shall, or you will have had, he or she will have had, we will have had, you will have had, they will have had. Now, you don't find this, in exercises. When you read, you occasionally will have to know how to use this, both in recognition and writing. Now, note well, the past participle remains in the masculine for both male and female, masculine and feminine. So that's the past perfect, the future perfect. Futuro anteriore. Now we got to the first conjugation verbs. Now, this is where the two verbs we've just had become interesting. Because they're the auxiliary verbs. Notice what happens here. The future perfect, I've used the verb lodare. Now, the auxiliary verb essere is used for verbs where there's movement. So this will come in the pratica. That's the explanation will come later. For now, I just want to show you how it works. The first conjugation verbs, the futuro anteriore or future perfect in English, is for lodare, which is to praise, parlare, to speak, all the other verbs. And you need the past participle, lodato. You drop the IRE, lodare. Io avrò lodato, tu avrai lodato, lui, lei avrà lodato, noi avremo lodato, voi avrete lodato, loro avranno lodato. And that's the future tense of avere. In this case, io avrò lodato Luisa. I will have praised Luisa perché ha fatto un buon lavoro, because she made, etc., etc. Perché avrà fatto un buon lavoro. It's sort of, you have to use the language in order to identify how these things work. Now, in English, same thing. But unlike in Italian, there's first, second, and third conjugation. There's only one conjugation in English, and it goes like this. I shall have praised. Now, to praise, the English ed is the actual normal past participle in English. But there are a lot of irregular past participles in English, and you have to learn them. And you get that through reading anyway. So this is the future perfect. I shall have praised, you shall have praised, he or she shall have praised, we shall have praised, we shall have praised, you will have praised, etc., etc. You know what I mean? Shall and will, you can't use them together. They are separated. Okay? So notice well, the past participle in English for the conjugation verb praise, regular verb in English, is praised. That's the regular part in English. Now, I hope I didn't go too fast for you, because, you know, you're only looking at it. As I said, we're only going through the bush, the forest, even a new city, you know, the first walk. And then you come back and you can appreciate it a lot better, rather than just do a little bit at a time, lots and lots of exercises, and then you never really have the full amount. It's like with history. When I teach on Thursday, at the moment I'm going through the history from the very beginning of time to about 1000 to the Bronze Age. I'm not going to go past that until I complete the whole world. So far I have covered the early part, then I've gone to the various continents: Egypt, Sumer, India, China, America, USA, the South America. So in other words, and then I will go to Russia, the Vikings, and then I'll go to Africa, because nobody touches Africa. So that's how it works. With this one here, it's better to have initially, even when you're cooking, it's the same thing. You go through the process. You don't worry about all the little mistakes. You just go back to what you were doing, and the practice makes you perfect, not the knowledge. If somebody only has knowledge but no practice, they're no good to you, because they will make mistakes in the practice. Welcome, Curtis. It's good to see you. This is the future perfect. Now, I'm going to go back to the second conjugation verb, credere, ripetere, and temere. Okay, here we go. Here you are. See, it's the same as the first conjugation. But this time here, credere, I've used credere with the past participle, because credere, the past participle is creduto. That's UTO. For regular past participle of second conjugation verbs is always UTO, unless it's an irregular verb. So here we are. Io avrò, so we go back to avere. Avere is the auxiliary verb of credere. Because io avrò creduto a Luisa quando lei mi spiegherà cosa ha fatto durante il suo viaggio in America. See, I will have praised something. I will have believed whatever she's done. So this will come into the pratica. Now I can assure you, I'll lead you to it. Io avrò creduto, tu avrai creduto, lei avrà creduto, noi avremo creduto, voi avrete creduto, loro avranno creduto. Look what happens now. I put in ripetere. Io avrò ripetuto, tu avrai ripetuto, lei avrà ripetuto, noi avremo ripetuto, voi avrete ripetuto, loro avranno ripetuto. Temere. Io avrò temuto, tu avrai temuto, lei avrà temuto, noi avremo temuto, voi avrete temuto, loro avranno temuto. You got to know them off by heart. That's the best way. Like in music, if you learn your notes and then you practice, learning the notes is one thing, practicing is another. Okay? So in English, I lost it. So I wrote the Italian twice. So what did I do? I just put a dash, and I thought, okay, that's I, you, he, she, you, we, they. Just a reminder that those are the personal pronouns in English which we used in the tenses of the verbs. So in English, I shall have believed. You shall have believed. He shall have believed. We shall have believed. You shall have believed. They shall have believed. But in fact, the one that we use more commonly in English is I will have believed. You will have believed. He or she will have believed. We will have believed. You will have believed. They will have believed. So the second one is the more common one. But in the future tense, you say, I shall believe, we shall believe, but the others, you will believe, she will believe, you will believe, they will believe, in the tense. But when you use this in the composite tenses, that's what happens. So note well, the past participle of regular ere verbs is uto, but there are a lot of second conjugation irregular past participles. So that's it for this one here. The next one is the third conjugation verb. I'm going to enjoy this because I won't have to repeat this again. You can see that's why people get bored with verbs, because it's a repetitive thing. But without the repetition, you really cannot learn. Here we are. Futuro anteriore of the third conjugation verbs finire, sentire, dormire, partire. Finire. I use dormire because that's a regular third conjugation verb in the past participle. So dormire, dormito, ito. Okay? So future tense, you avrò, using the auxiliary verb avere. In this case, in my presentations here, it's always been avere, avere, avere. It hasn't been sarò, sarai, sarà, except for the auxiliary verb essere. But the auxiliary verb essere is important because it's used in particular with particular verbs of movement. Then I'll show you these as we move along. So this is the future perfect of dormire. Io avrò dormito, tu avrai dormito, lui, lei avrà dormito, noi avremo dormito, voi avrete dormito, loro avranno dormito. Now, if you want to do finire, it's okay. Io avrò finito, tu avrai finito, lui, lei avrà finito, noi avremo finito, voi avrete finito, loro avranno finito. But with finire, in the present tense of the verb, if you remember, this one here is one of those verbs which is an isc. Io finisco, tu finisci, lui, lei finisce, noi finiamo, voi finite, loro finiscono, in the present tense. So that's why, but in the past participle, they're all quite regular. Sentire is the same, and partire is the same. Okay, so that's basically, that the English is, dormire, unfortunately, is slept, is an irregular past participle. I didn't think about that when I was doing it, but doesn't matter. I would have listened for sentir. I would have listened. That would have been a better choice of mine to have a regular past participle. But maybe I did it on purpose. So that I want to remind you that the irregular verbs in English are past participle are very important. And English has only got one conjugation, but many tenses, many more tenses than in Italian. Okay, you win on one side and you lose on the other when you're learning different languages. And I will announce now that I will show you as we move along. I've chosen to do French, which I teach as well. I'm a teacher of French, but I don't speak French well. And I'm going to do Spanish, which I've never done before. And I'm going to explain them in exactly the same way as I've explained Italian. And I'm going to learn alongside you if you come for the journey of languages. Because here at Insegna I have 20 languages. So I've been looking at the various scripts. You know, you look at Hindi, Chinese, a lot of other languages have got different writing. But once you learn Arabic, once you learn the actual alphabet, if you like, because it's an alphabet in that language using a different system, but the result is the same. You still have to go through the 9 parts of speech. No one can escape it. But each one of those languages then explains it in its own way. And that's where the problems lie. But if you are involved with Spanish, let's say, and you speak it, have a look at the grammars, the Spanish grammars. Follow what I've said. Check it out. and you'll improve. And when you've done this, you'll actually be able to teach the language to other people. So when you can give practice in Italian or English, when you understood all this, to other people who don't know it. In terra di ciechi, chi ha un occhio è Signore. In the land of the blind, if you have one eye, you are the Lord, because you're the only one who can see. It's like people who dream, who have a dream. I have a dream. So the dream can't come true with other people unless you share it with them. And guess what? That's what I'm doing right now. My dream has always been to teach languages and for people to know. That was my dream in 1967. Actually 65, when I was working when I arrived in Australia in 63, then I got jobs in various places, fruit shops, chicken shops, grocery stores, all sorts of things. But in one of my first one was a fruit shop. And the guy said, I said, I don't know English. And the guy said, well, we should really have one language in the world called Esperanto. There is already one. Get rid of all the rest. Everyone learns Esperanto. And then within a couple of years, I understood that that was a dream that's not going to come true. So I thought, okay, variety is the spice of life. Let me learn English properly, do French, Latin, whatever. But then I understood that you can't have the same language, even if using the same language in different parts of the world. It makes there's difference. So when it snows in the equator, snow is snow because it doesn't snow in the equator. But if you go to the North Pole or the South Pole, the word for snow, you've got 25 words for snow, 30, 40, 50, because once it's snow that thick, the other one is slow, the other one, they all got different names. And the same with fruits that are available in the tropical areas as against the ones that are available in other parts, in different geographical areas of the world. So I've digressed here, but my digressions are done on purpose because these are understanding this is it's conceptual, the concept. And that's why the adult can learn languages faster than the children if they apply themselves to it, because the children need the practice because they don't have the concept. Okay, so this was the third conjugation verb. Now that's it there. There it is. And I have now got some grammar books here with exercises. The grammar books, all the grammar books, they go through what I've just gone through, but they have exercises with each one. The actual courses, 1 year course, 2 year courses. I used to teach adults with a progressive Italian grammar at Coburg High Evening School. I used to do that in 2 terms when we had 3 terms. And then the third term was revision. And some of the people there became teachers of the language, because then they went to Perugia, they went this. You don't stop. It's an individual. Learning a language is individual. Learning anything is individual. Learning to sing is individual. Because if you never sing, you never make your mistakes. You will never sing. The mistake is what makes you learn. What you know already, you know. You don't need to learn it again. And on that note, before I got to the invariable parts of speech, just for a change, let's have a look at qui comando io, and I will analyse it according to what I've done today. But futuro anteriore, it's a very particular type of tense that needs precise exercises. Here I'm going to digress and say, okay, let's have a look now at the 9 parts of speech. Let's see whether we recognise some of the some of the parts that I've talked about. Let's go. E qui comando io. E qui comando io. E starts with a conjunction. E qui. Qui. Is qui a conjunction as well? Maybe it is. Or is it an adverb? But more like a conjunction. Comando, verb, present tense. Io comando, tu comandi, lui, lei comanda. Noi comandiamo, voi comandate, loro comandano. That's an IRE verb. Comandare. Comando io. Personal pronoun. And in this case here, that io, in Latin would have been the vocative. In other words, it's like an exclamation. E qui comando io. Yeah, that sort of thing. In that sort of idea. Quelle stradelle che tu mi fai far, cara Rosina, quelle stradelle che tu mi fai far, cara Rosina, le devi pagar. Have a look. Welcome, Zoraida. Good to see you again. Quelle stradelle. Stradelle is strada. Stradelle is narrow little roads. So stradelle, that's you add that to the noun strada, and again I'm going to come back to this and look at the 9 parts of speech in more detail. But as I said, I will finish the first part. I will finish the first part by lesson 20. And then I'll come back. So quelle stradelle che tu mi fai far, che tu mi fai far, che tu, che in this case here is a conjunction. That can also be an adjective or a pronoun. But in this case here, it's a conjunction. Tu, personal pronoun, mi. You remember mi fai far. Tu fai fare a me. That's an impersonal conjunction. Let me have a look. It's one of those pronouns, you know, one of the pronouns, I can't remember the name. But me, in this case here, comes before the verb. So it can be object pronouns. It's indirect, direct object. This is an indirect object because che fai fare a me. That me means a me. Equals a me, che fai fare a me. Direct object, indirect object pronoun. This case here comes before the verb, che tu mi fai far, che tu fai fare a me. But because of the pronunciation, quelle stradelle che tu mi fai far, it sounds better in singing. And that's cara Rosina, cara, dear Rosina, from Rosa. You know, Rosina, they love the Italians. It's a Rosina if you are little. Rosona, you never hear it, if you're a big person. Rosetta, if you're a pretty person. Una rosaccia. Those are the 4 ways of changing the words, the actual nouns in Italian. We haven't done that, but we're going to do that later. So, quella stradella che tu mi fai far, cara Rosina, che tu mi fai, cara Rosina, le devi pagar. Devi pagar, le devi. So, what is le stands for? Okay? Cara Rosina, devi pagare le. It's a direct object pronoun. Le stradelle. In this case, it's stradelle. You don't repeat stradelle, you use the le. Io, tu, lui, le, lo, noi, voi, loro. No, mi, ci, loro. See, again, you have to be quick on the trigger here when it comes to knowing which parts of speech they are. And I haven't done this for a long time, so my brain is not attuned to it. Therefore, by teaching it, I'm learning. And somebody says, but if you don't know, why should you do it? Well, I do know, but I just can't remember. I do know what I'm doing, but I recognise where I need to improve. I'm the best critic of myself. And you can do, that's what you should do too. And here we go. Quelle stradelle che tu mi fai far, cara Rosina, quelle stradelle che tu mi fai far, cara Rosina, le devi pagar. E qui comando io, e questa è casa mia, ogni dì voglio sapere, e qui comando io, e questa è casa mia, ogni dì voglio sapere chi viene, chi va. Notice, there is a mistake there. Did you pick it up? Let's have a look. E qui, it's like, e qui. Commando io, we explained it before, and here, I command. And, another conjunction, questa, this one, è casa mia. But in this case, questa, is it an adjective or a pronoun? Well, it's a pronoun in this case, because you're using it by itself. The accent is missing. Because that's questa è casa mia. This one is my house. Casa mia. And notice the mia, in this case, la mia casa, but this one here is casa mia. Why does the songwriter put it afterwards? Because it suits. And Italians allows it. So it's all right. Ogni dì. Dì is another word for giorno. Il dì. Dì with an accent on the I. It's venerdì, the day of Venus. Mercoledì, giovedì, martedì, lunedì. The D at the end of that means day. Lunes, Monday. Monday. Lunes, day. See, it's in English too, same thing. So let's go on. E questa è casa mia. Ogni dì voglio sapere. Voglio is the present tense of volere. Now, that is an irregular present tense, which we haven't done. Io voglio, tu vuoi, lui, lei vuole, noi vogliamo, voi volete, loro vogliono. So, in the present tense, the voglio, io voglio, tu vuoi, lei vuole, that's normal. Noi vogliamo, and voi volete, loro vogliono. There's irregular and regular in the verb. And then they use sapere, to know, sapere. Okay, to know. Chi viene? Chi is a pronoun. Who comes? Who comes here? E chi, and who goes away? And is a conjunction. Chi is a pronoun. It's an interrogative pronoun, because it's like chi viene. Again, is it interrogative? Is it this? So then you have a discussion. If you have two grammarians speaking to each other, then they can throw whatever at each other. You don't know your relative pronouns. You don't know your interrogative pronouns. You don't know this. You don't know that. What are you doing teaching? Go and do some. And that's why it sort of goes. So, but there's nothing wrong with that, because that allows people to become even more knowledgeable. Assunta Lombardi, welcome, new name, fantastic. Now, I just want to repeat that I am doing 20 of these grammar lessons, Grammatica e Pratica, where I'm going through the grammar, Assunta, and you can revise my work on Insegna.com now, and you go to blog. You don't even have to be my friend on Facebook anymore. I've done it there. I will put it on YouTube. I will do lots of things. It's on my blogspot as well, TomPadula.blogspot.com, and you go to lessons. There's a lot that I do online now, which, by the way, by the way, is costly too, because you have to employ people who know what they're doing. And books, as you know, Insegna needs some support. And if somebody wants to support, I welcome it, because I'll spend it on publications. I don't need anything at all. Okay, let's go. E qui comando io. What about, now we've done a chi va. What about you singing along with me? Quelle stradelle che tu mi fai far, cara Rosina, quelle stradelle che tu mi fai far, cara Rosina, le devi pagar. E qui comando io, e questa è casa mia, ogni dì voglio sapere, e qui comando io, e questa è casa mia, ogni dì voglio sapere chi viene e chi va. Devi pagarle con sangue e dolor, finché la luna, devi pagarle con sangue e dolor, finché la luna non cambia i color. Now, devi pagarle. You must pay for them. So what are you going to pay for? Devi pagarle con sangue e dolor. Pagarle. Quelle stradelle. Le stradelle, when you send your children out, they go to those, in Italy, in the north especially, because there's a song that comes from the north. They're little narrow roads, le stradelle, where you meet your boyfriend, etc. So devi pagarle, you must pay for them, con sangue e dolor, with blood and pain and grief. But because, notice there, con il sangue normally, e con il dolor. But because it's a song, the writer of the song is looking at the way in which the Italian then sounds better. So, devi pagarle con sangue e dolor. Sangue e dolore, you drop the E. They used to do a lot. Now we try to avoid the dropping of the last word, the last vowel in words, not Italian. So if I was writing today, I would say, devi pagarle con sangue e dolore finché la luna, devi pagarle con sangue e dolore finché la luna non cambia i colori. See, that's the way it should be. But this is poetic license, and the Italian allows it. Therefore, is it wrong? Is it right? La pratica batte la grammatica. This is the practice in the language. Therefore, when you get into the language, that's what happens. You enjoy. You have to learn how they express themselves in the streets. And that's where I miss out on French, in my French, because I haven't lived in Paris. But if I go there, I can assure you, when I went to Vietnam, within 10 days, already starting to do a few little words here and there. So, devi pagarle con sangue e dolore finché la luna, you know, finché, what is it? Finché la luna must be a conjunction. Finché la luna, another conjunction, a repetition. Devi pagarla, we've said that before, con sangue is blood, and grief, dolore, pain. Finché la luna non cambia i colori, until the moon doesn't change its colors. So what does this mean? Devi pagarle con sangue e dolore finché la luna non cambia il colore. Here, I command in this house, and you can't go out. And if you do, you have to pay for it. Finché la luna cambia il colore. So until, I suppose, next time you go out. So you've got a bit of an interpretation here. Okay, so we've done that bit there. How about now? I'll just keep going, because then I want to go and do something else. Quando la luna la cambia i color, vieni che l'ora, quando la luna la cambia i colori, vieni che è l'ora di fare l'amor. e qui comando io, e questa è casa mia, ogni dì voglio sapere, ogni dì voglio sapere, e qui comando io, e questa è casa mia, ogni dì voglio sapere chi viene, chi va, e qui comando io, e questa è casa mia. There's a repetition there. Okay, so I might as well do the last bit there, because the rest is all repetition from what we've done before. So the music takes over. It's a beautiful song when you listen to it with music. Beautiful. Quando la luna, quando la luna cambia i colori, quando la luna la cambia i colori, essa, la luna, it's like a bit of a dialect here, a bit of local language. La luna, lei, saying la cambia i colori. Veneto, I Veneti would express that. That's a common thing in Italy too. You know, you put in the local language bit in the songs as well. Okay, and vieni che l'ora, come, that is the time. Vieni che l'ora. So when the moon changes, so in other words, the girl now says, okay, we've heard mum and dad, now you come, vieni che, quando la luna la cambia I colori, when the moon changes its colours. In other words, when it's not full moon, when there is no moon, I can get out and nobody can see me. Vieni, come, che l'ora, that it is time di fare, to make love. That's when you do it, in the dark. And then in those little streets, nobody sees you, etc., etc. There's very little, in small towns in Italy, everyone knows each other's business, so everything has got to be done on the quiet. And that's basically it. How about we sing it together, the whole lot? I think you should be able to translate this now into English or into Spanish. E qui comando io. Okay? Orietta Berti sings it, and also Giuliola Cinquetti. So if you go to if you go to YouTube and you write E qui comando io, the lyrics come up, and also the music, the songs, and that's how people like Orietta Berti, that's how the people become famous, when other people use their work. And I use them in a particular way. So who should pay who? Oh well, never mind. E qui comando io. Quelle stradelle che tu mi fai far, cara Rosina, quelle stradelle che tu mi fai far, cara Rosina, le devi pagar. E qui comando io, e questa è casa mia, ogni dì voglio sapere, e qui comando io, e questa è casa mia, ogni dì voglio sapere chi viene e chi va. Devi pagarle con sangue e dolor, finché la luna, devi pagarle con sangue e dolor, finché la luna non cambia i color. E qui comando io, e questa è casa mia, ogni dì voglio sapere, e qui comando io, e questa è casa mia, ogni dì voglio sapere chi viene e chi va. Quando la luna la cambia i color, vieni che l'ora, quando la luna la cambia i colori, vieni che è l'ora di fare l'amor. E qui comando io, e questa è casa mia, ogni dì voglio sapere, e qui comando io, e questa è casa mia, ogni dì voglio sapere chi viene e chi va. E qui comando io, e questa è casa mia, ogni dì voglio sapere, ogni dì voglio sapere, e qui comando io, e questa è casa mia, ogni dì voglio sapere, chi viene e chi va. So that's it. Welcome to Tony Angiolino. So we've done now the futuro anteriore. We've done a little bit of what's coming in terms of explanation of the verbs that we need to learn in order for us to learn the language quickly. Because if you don't learn the verbs quickly, you will not know, you cannot, in fact, improve what you're doing. I'm looking for, here, I'm looking now, this is the verbs, wrong one, okay. I'm looking for the prepositions. Let me see, because I did them before, and we're going to go through the prepositions, and let's have a look what they are. And these can be learned off by heart. Again, if you learn these, then when, here we are, prepositions. Last time, if you remember, I only put the English there. Then today, I had to look them up. I wrote them down. That's the Italian. To or at a preposition. There are a lot of prepositions, not just the simple prepositions. There are many more. In, into, in is also a preposition. On, su is a preposition. Under is a preposition. Sotto is under. In front of, davanti. Behind, dietro. They're prepositions. See, that's what I'm saying. You find davanti. Is it an adverb? Is it this? Is that? No, it's a preposition. That's what I say. Behind, dietro. With, con. See, con, sangue, dolor. With. And then in the explanation of the grammar, the further explanations, oh, well, when, you use it in songs, you don't use the article in front of it. But you can if you want to when you speak, etc., etc. Without the senza. Off or from. No, that from shouldn't be there. Di. From is da. Mistake. Here, do I fix it up? Well, why not? Because if I don't fix it up now, when will I do it? I have to come back to it. So as you make a mistake or you see something, here we are. Sorry, a pen, one up. Okay, di. Okay, so that's di here, see? Di, and we put da. It's off, di, from is da. I fixed it up. So I don't have to go back to it. That's what happens. The mistake is good. It's not that you don't know. It's just that you forget. For is per. Before is a preposition. It's before is prima, preposition. After is per, is dopo. That's another preposition. Towards is verso. About time, a tempo, in tempo. That's I did that. I'm not sure. I got to check it out. But a tempo, in tempo, it's a preposition. Why is it a preposition? Whoop. To or at the house. Alla casa, alla. That combines. You remember? You combine. A casa. Shop off il negozio di. Di is a preposition in this case here. Okay, I've taken it out. Now, the next lot, if you remember, well, this one's here. Okay, so you got all these prepositions here. A, to, at, and they combine. We've done this before, so you can look it up. Okay, but there are more prepositions. I did a bit more work. During is a preposition. Eccetto is a preposition. Against, contro, is a preposition. Between, fra, tra. Among, fra or tra. I would say between is tra and among is fra. You got to look them up. Since is da quando, in, it's easy, until, as far as, fino a che, in spite of, nonostante, according to, secondo, as early as. Google gave me già, but I didn't like that. Il più presto possibile, that's mine. It's as early as is not già. It's an interpretation. At is across or through, attraverso. Near is vicino. Around is in giro. In the middle of, in mezzo a. And these are all prepositions. We don't stop there. There's one more, a little bit more. Because of, per colpa di, opposite, di fronte, instead of, invece di, above, sopra, below, sotto, as far as, come di, over, sopra, along, lungo. Believe it or not, no one has given me this in English, ever. I've never seen the prepositions in full like I have here. And I'm giving them to you because then you recognize them when we actually, do the explication de text. So the next one is here. Before I do the conjunctions, I should do the conjunctions now so that you can have a look. It's all right, I'll do the conjunctions. Just 1 second. Prepositions. Conjunctions, here they are. Conjunctions. And, or, o, but, ma, that, quello, for, per, if, se, as, come, when, quando, because, perché, since, da quando, while, mentre, as soon as, non appena, after, dopo, the first time, la prima volta, as in proportion as, come, in a proportional situation. Conjunctions, a list semplice e composta. These are all in Italian. E, o, ma, se, che, ne with an accent on the e. Ne means e non. Pure, però, anzi, mentre, dunque, quando. They are conjunctions. There are also other ones, the compost ones. Affinché, allorché, perché. These are conjunctions. Perché is a conjunction. Perché, poiché, giacché, ebbene, pure, oppure, ovvero, perciò, siccome, vogliono any more? More. Considerando che, di modo che, a condizione che, nel momento che, per la qualcosa, anche se, prima che. More conjunctions. Here we are. Ed, ne, anche, pure, perfino, ancora, altre sì, inoltre, neppure, neanche, nemmeno. Pure, pure, invece, mentre, non di meno, peraltro, del resto, oppure, ovvero, non di meno, etc., etc. Now, these ones here, next time, I'll give them to you in English as well. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so we've done the conjunctions and we've done the prepositions. Do you remember anything? Of course not. How can you remember? We've just done it. Now, this is the next song. It's called Belinda. You remember Bella Belinda? This is a Gianni Morandi song. Very famous Gianni Morandi with Giuliola Cinquetti. They got a certain age like me, but they keep their hair. They're looking really fantastic as people of the third age these days. Belinda. This is a 1960 song. Bella Belinda è innamorata, parla da sola con l'insalata e non guarda il piatto ma la finestra, scende una lacrima nella minestra. Gioca col pane, bella Belinda, fa le palline con la mollica. Nel suo bicchiere, bella Belinda, lei vede i suoi occhi pieni d'amore. So have a look. Bella Belinda, beautiful Belinda. Bella is an adjective. E, present tense, innamorata. Now, because of the verb, auxiliary verb to be, is essere, then innamorato is is an adjective. It goes with Belinda. Belinda è innamorata. Ma se era Michele, it's Michele è innamorato. Now, she, Belinda, parla. You don't have to say lei parla. We said that because of the conjugation of the verb, you don't need the personal pronoun. So they don't use it. Bella Belinda è innamorata. Parla da sola. Da sola. Da. What's that? A preposition. So da sola has to be a preposition on her own in English. Preposition. Parla da sola. But parla could be an adverb because it comes after parla. We have to check it out. Con l'insalata. Con, with, l'insalata, l'apostrophe in front of a noun that is feminine. Because in English, in Italian, there's no neuter. It's either feminine or masculine. All the nouns are either feminine. Insalata, salad. Green salad. E, conjunction. Non is a conjunction. Guarda, from guardare. Io guardo, tu guardi, lei guarda. Il piatto. Il piatto in this case here is a noun, but it's also an object. Guarda, lei guarda il piatto. Ma la finestra scende e non guarda il piatto, ma la finestra. But the window. He doesn't look at the plate, he looks at the window. Scende una lacrima, a teardrop comes down nella minestra, in the, which is a preposition. Minestra. You know minestra what it is? Minestra. Un brodo con la pasta, you know, a few vegetables, and you get a minestra. Scendere, scende, from scendere, second conjugation verb. Scendere. Io scendo, tu scendi, lui, lei scende. Noi scendiamo, voi scendete, loro scendono. So scendere, you look up scendere, to come down. So scende una lacrima nella minestra. Gioca col pane. Now, notice here, in the first place I say con l'insalata, but this time here he loved the col, not really con il pane. He's put it together in the old-fashioned way. Gioca col pane, because it sounds good. Bella Belinda, fa le palline, fa from fare. Io faccio, tu fai, lui, lei fa, noi facciamo, voi fate, loro fanno. This is an irregular present tense of the verb fare, which from the Latin is facere. Fare, shortened, even the infinitive of the verb is shortened. From facere becomes fare. You look up fare, and it's an irregular infinitive. And then the verb, io faccio, tu faccio, but io facevo, tu facevi, lui faceva. Noi facevamo, voi facevate, loro facevano. Io feci, tu facesti, lui fece. Noi facemmo, voi faceste, loro fecero. Io farò, tu farai, lui farà. See, the actual tenses, you have to know them off. You got to, if you really want to learn, that's what you got to do. And you have to impose that on your students. Now, who's going to... That's why grammar became unpopular in the time when governments became more soft, more democratic. Under harsh rule, the grammar would be taught regardless. You got to do it, you got to do it. So that's the difference. It also, the learning also becomes political in this case. So, Bella Belinda, gioca col pane, Bella, fa le palline. She makes little balls. With what? Con la mollica, with the breadcrumbs, with the bread, the soft part of the bread. What does she do with it? Nel suo bicchiere, Bella Belinda, so the palline, she's throwing a pallina. Oh. Nel suo bicchiere, in her glass, okay, full of water, I assume, Bella Belinda. Lei vede I suoi occhi, without, she sees her eyes. pieni d'amore, full of love. And she can't go out. E 1000 pensieri come farfalle, e 1000 carezze sui suoi capelli, e brividi dolci lungo le spalle, e più è innamorata e più si fa bella. So, and 1,000 thoughts like butterflies. See, conjunction, 1000, the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Come farfalle. Do you remember what come was? Was it a conjunction or was it a preposition? I can't remember, do you? That's where you got to look it up. E 1000 carezze, caresses, 1,000 caresses, sui suoi capelli, su is on her hair. Okay, on it. Welcome Angela, email her. Carezze lungo le spalle, sui suoi capelli, e brividi dolci, e sweet brividi, like somebody scratches your back. Brivido. I can't remember. Lungo le spalle, along her shoulders. Brividi, you know. Look it up for me. By the way, you know, I haven't mentioned anyone who's watching. You can say, I have followed, you know, I have sung with you. Just give me some comment, because that way you remain on it as well. It's up to you. You know, you don't have to do it, but if you do, I appreciate it. E più è innamorata e più si fa bella. And more she's in love, and more she becomes beautiful. So more, più. We use that più with adjectives. E più è innamorata, più innamorata. So that's part of the adjective. That's, again, what type of adjective is it? E più and more. So in this case here, is that conjunction? Is it a preposition? What is it? E più si fa, farsi. That's a reflexive verb. I'll be doing that in the next couple of lessons. Si fa bella, she becomes more beautiful. Oh, I've gone past the time. But anyway, the last bit, no, that's it. I'm going to finish there. No, not before. Let's sing it together, and that's a good way to finish. Bella Belinda è innamorata, parla da sola con l'insalata e non guarda il piatto ma la finestra, scende una lacrima nella minestra. Gioca col pane, bella Belinda, fa le palline con la mollica. Nel suo bicchiere, bella Belinda, lei vede i suoi occhi pieni d'amore. E 1000 pensieri come farfalle, e 1000 carezze sui suoi capelli, e brividi dolci lungo le spalle, e più è innamorata e più si fa bella. On that note, beautiful, that's it. Let me go back to me. Well, thank you very much for the company. I've enjoyed today. It's great. Have a look at my Insegna.com. Go to blog, to the Italian lessons. Lessons 1 to 15 are now available for you. You don't have to go on YouTube anymore. Of course, you still can. On Facebook, you can still do that. But you can also do it directly from the podcast. Okay. Thank you very much. Once again, ciao da Tom Padula from TomPadulaTV and Insegna Booksellers. Come and see me sometimes if you're around Melbourne. If you're not, don't worry, it's okay. Just visit a bookshop. Okay, ciao. You can always order as well from Insegna.com from anywhere in the world. I've sent books to America, whatever. We can trial things out. Okay, ciao. I'll finish off now. Arrivederci.